The following is an Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, interactive. Covering weekly fallout from TNA Impact Wrestling Live as seen on Spike TV. You're listening to Impact Showdown Radio with your host, Lee Sanders and Diamond K.
It is February 28th, 2013, 1 minute past the 10 o'clock hour on the East Coast. It is the final day of the month. As y'all know, February is the shortest month out of the calendar year. Thank you all so much for checking us out tonight. As always, we have the chat room. You know, you could jump on in there when you get a free moment. It's at blogtalkradio.com/the RCWR show. Feel free to jump on in there when you get a free moment. You can also take the time out to interact with us on Twitter. Let us know how you either liked or disliked tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling Live, as it was the return of Impact and its live status from the Orlando studios in Florida. I'm going to be joined by co-host Diamond K in just a couple of minutes, and we're going to run over everything that had went down on tonight's episode. And those of you that were listening to us on Tuesday night, we do humbly want to apologize to you guys for any audio problems that you might have been experiencing at our end. We know Diamond's working with that headset there. Hopefully he'll be switching it up a little bit tonight. If not, then rest assured, if we have any hiccups that's going to go on tonight's episode, I definitely promise you guys we'll make sure that there's not going to be any more hiccups going into the next week, because it kind of sounds like he may need to take that headset back to Radio Shack or whatever. And it definitely makes my job a little bit more harder for you guys, because I have to end up remixing the episodes, make it clean, so you guys can really get a nice, well-produced and well-executed episode. So hopefully we won't have any audio problems tonight. All right, so this was one hell of an episode of Impact Wrestling that we had got tonight. How about that shock value there at the end, as we saw throughout the night? Kurt Angle stalking the Aces and Eights members, trying to figure out where their clubhouse is, following them to that place, and then just being a one-man band, just taking out all the members of Aces and Eights. It came down to him and that one big, massive member in Aces and Eights. We see Kurt Angle. He is successfully able to take a bottle to the head of this guy, takes the mask off, but we don't get to see who it is, as we just hear Kurt Angle's reactions. How could you, man? What the hell is wrong with you? Just trying to get answers from this guy, as other Aces and Eights members, they jumped him from behind, and we just see Impact Wrestling go off the air just like that. That is like the million-dollar question right now. Just who could it possibly have been behind that mask? Well, hopefully, maybe we can get a little bit of answers next week, but that definitely was a strong way to end that. I'm looking very forward to seeing how next week's episode of Impact Wrestling goes, is what I was trying to say. And it looks like we got the Lockdown card, as it is finally starting to take shape. And Lockdown is going to be coming to us 10 days from now from San Antonio, Texas. And, folks, if you're not able to see that live on pay-per-view, you'll have the next best thing, as all weekend long, next week that is, we will be covering it for you, getting you guys ready. You know how we do it. We hook you guys up with the live results over at our website all throughout the night, leading up until when the pay-per-view goes off the air. Then, hey, we hook you up with that live post-show where we cover the fallout. Phone lines will be opened on that night. So you are more than welcome to call in if you end up checking it out. Share your thoughts on that pay-per-view. But, again, just to recap some of those matches that's going to be happening at Lockdown, we got that steel cage match between Jeff Hardy and Bully Ray for the TNA World Heavyweight title. Team TNA is going to be taking on Team Aces and Eights, and that should be a very interesting one right there. Now, I should point out to you guys that somebody did a very cruel joke on Wikipedia, and I want to just let you guys know about this. I don't want you guys taking this information and going, oh my God, really, this is exactly what's going to happen at Lockdown. Some weird, sick, twisted little SOB had went to the 2013 Lockdown that's supposed to be happening March 10th, and you can't make this stuff up. They put in 4 members that is supposed to consist of Team Aces and Eights. They said that Rikishi, Scott Hall, and Ultimate Warrior are part of the stable. So, guys, until TNA Wrestling tells us otherwise, do not believe what you read on there. I don't know who the hell that was, but that needs a serious edit. You're more than welcome to check that out right now. Just type in TNA Lockdown 2013 Wicca, and you'll actually see it. It says Aces and Eights, Devon, Rikishi, Scott Hall, and the Ultimate Warrior. And you know that's a crock of shit, because as soon as you see Scott Hall in there, the first thing you say to yourself is, well, that can't be possible, because Scott Hall is down there at Diamond Dallas's Page's little resort, getting his training and getting in his rehab, DDP yoga. So that definitely, no way is it going to be him. Rikishi, I just don't see that happening. That's just silly right there. Ultimate Warrior, come on, guys, for real. Let's be honest. So, and of course we got Kurt Angle, who's going to be in action, as he'll be taking on Wes Briscoe. So that's your current card right now, although I would expect more matches to be announced, probably, if not over the weekend, definitely leading on up into tonight, into the Lockdown pay-per-view coming up. All right, so I've tried to buy Diamond K a little bit of time. I don't know. He is down in Atlanta right now on assignment. He's working on a couple of different projects. I know he was shooting a couple of music videos for a couple of artists. So we're just going ahead. We'll just jump right on into it. And I'm pretty sure Diamond, 9 times out of 10, he probably did squeeze in Impact Wrestling. We'll see what happens. If he calls in, he calls in. If not, hey, I've been doing this for a good while now solo. I know how to do it over here. So let's kick it up from the very top. And Diamond calls in, we'll slide him on in there. All right, so we saw a pretty good rematch tonight for the TNA Knockouts title, as the beautiful, the lovely Velvet Sky had defended it against Tara. That's right, it was the rematch there. This one, I couldn't wait for this particular match to be over, and I'm going to tell you the reason why. I just felt, and I'm trying very hard not to sound very redundant. I'm trying very hard not to sound mean, but this match that Velvet Sky was in tonight against Tara, it was just, normally I could kick back and say, man, the Knockouts, they have some really great matches. Majority of the time their matches are better than some promotions, like, you can't help but kind of make the comparison there with what's going on with WWE and its divas, but, they're definitely up there with the way that they treat their division usually. But on this night, I just felt that this Knockouts match we had got, it just really did not have enough sizzle. There really wasn't hardly any offense that I was able to see from Velvet Sky, and I just felt so bad for Tara having to take all those ridiculous, silly bumps and just the way that the match had ended. And like I said last week, when it was revealed that Velvet Sky had become the new TNA Knockouts champion there while they were out there in London, it's cool that Velvet Sky is the Knockouts champion, but you had to give props to those other Knockouts that was involved in that battle royal, as they really had told a good story in trying to get her over. And, for me personally, I just can't help but wonder, when is the time going to come when TNA kind of starts waking up and they say, okay, well, Velvet Sky, as pretty as she is, she's not quite where we need her to be in the ring. Let's go with somebody else. That's my whole thing. And honestly, I would dare say, And I'll jump out there. I honestly feel that at this point, they made the wrong decision with regards to signing her. I think if anybody should have been signed, it should have been Angelina Love. That is who they should have went after. That girl knows how to frickin' wrestle. Say whatever you want to say, and we know some people, they like to do all this weird name calling about her because of the way she's been looking over the years. Her appearance has just dramatically changed and all. But honestly, you just strip all that away. She definitely, hands down, is a better in-ring performer than Velvet Sky. I really feel they should have went after her. And, speaking of Angelina Love, in case you guys have not heard yet, Angelina Love has signed on with Shine Wrestling. And if you guys know your women's wrestling, you definitely know we did a post-show covering the fallout from the Shine 7 pay-per-view where Angelina Love had made her debut with the promotion, and she's actually going to be wrestling for them at their next event coming up in late March. And huge acquisition that Shine Wrestling had got right there. And, folks, you may be trying to say to yourself, why are you dropping the Shine Wrestling name? Shine Wrestling is going to be a name that I'm going to be mentioning once again later on in this broadcast, and it's for a very good reason. And I'm trying to hip you guys, if you have not caught on to Shine Wrestling yet, Shimmer Wrestling, you'll want to start making it be your business to follow them, because that nowadays is where a lot of these women, especially from what you saw in Impact Wrestling tonight, that's where a lot of them are coming from. So if you haven't started following them yet, you want to get on top of it. They got some really great pay-per-view packages, pricing options. You can't really beat them. You can kick back. You can watch the pay-per-views, streaming it from your laptop, desktop, whatever, portable device. You can stream it for just $10. There's like a $15, $20 option where you can stream it and you can actually own it on DVD. I can't remember what the third pricing option is, but, I mean, they got some pretty good deals. I mean, worst come to shove, if you can only afford $10, my God, man, $10 for like 2+ hours of freaking pure wrestling fun. Oh, you can't really beat that, hands down. And other action on Impact Wrestling tonight, we saw Bully Ray, Jeff Hardy cross paths for the very first time since it was announced last week by TNA General Manager Brother Hulk Hogan that it was going to be Bully Ray to take on Jeff Hardy for that TNA title at Lockdown in the steel cage match. And very interesting how everything just tied together right here for this particular conversation between he and the TNA champion. Bully Ray, of course, he was looking for Taz off the break. And let's not forget, it was last week there we saw Aces and Eights. They did a serious number to the Hulkster there, and it actually ended up in a way pretty unfortunate for the Hulkster. He had to get surgery done on his leg, so once more Hulk Hogan being split open, but he's promising he's going to be coming back very soon. Well, no Hulk Hogan on tonight's Impact as he's at home recovering, but Bully Ray wanting to get a piece of Taz. Taz, surprisingly, nowhere to be found as he's not at the commentating booth with Tenay and Todd. And Bully Ray, he vows that Aces and Eights, they're going to get what's coming to them, and that more importantly, he can't wait to get his hands on Devon Dudley. And he calls out Jeff Hardy afterwards and lets him know that he really doesn't feel like he deserves to be in the same ring with Jeff, and that this is all coming despite the fact that the two of these men, they have a long history together. They've been involved in a lot of matches, dealing with tables, ladders, chairs, oh my. They've gone through it all. But Bully Ray, he just has a bad feeling about this and really doesn't feel like it should be him that should be taking him on, as there are other guys that were involved in a tournament to crown a new number one contender that should be in his place instead. And Jeff Hardy, on the contrary, he tells Bully Ray, hey, it definitely should be you. You should be the one that I should be taking on. Hell, I want to face you. And I think we've done so many great matches over the years, and it's going to be no different come Lockdown March 10th. History is going to be in the making. We're going to set that match that we're going to be in to new heights. Looking very forward to it. Well, we see them get interrupted by Daniels and Kazarian, and we see Kazarian, he tells Jeff Hardy that, hey, and Bully Ray, actually, he tells them that, without a doubt, Bully Ray doesn't even deserve to be in this position right now. And we see Daniels chiming in the same thoughts. Also still a little bit bitter that he had lost to Jeff Hardy a couple of weeks back, as he blamed it on Hardy's toxic face paint. And that basically they needed to get out of the ring because they wanted to have ring time right then and there. And we saw a pretty interesting brawl come out between all four of these guys. Ended in a way where Bully Ray issued a challenge to D&K, telling them to team up in a tag match against he and Jeff Hardy later in the night. So our main event match was set. And we got to show some love to our boy Robert in the chat room before we go any further. He wanted to chime in his thoughts on what had went down with that Knockouts match. And this is a direct quote from Robert right here. That match was too short for a title match, and I definitely agree with you on that. That's his thoughts with regards to that Knockouts match. I definitely agree with you. It did feel like it was a 3-minute job right there. They definitely should have made it be a little bit longer, but then again, you can only get but so much when one of the participants in that match can only wrestle but so little. You understand what I'm saying, Rob? So, yeah, but I definitely agree. It was a very short match. Other action that we had saw on Impact Wrestling tonight, we had saw the one and the only Austin Aries in singles action as he took on Hernandez. Now, this match was a result of Austin Aries talking to his partner, Bobby Roode, who didn't even appear on tonight's broadcast. Told him that he needed them there because they were doing a photo op, and he needed to be there. And sounded like Bobby was probably on his way, but in the meantime, Austin had to hold down the fort. And Bobby shared some very interesting news with him that it was looking as though they were going to have to defend their tag titles in a triple threat tag match against Chavo and Hernandez, and possibly Daniels and Kazarian. And Austin Aries said, he's not tripping. He can pretty much take those teams out by himself. Well, Chavo and Hernandez, they overheard him, and Chavo issued a challenge. Austin was very happy to oblige, but Chavo tricked him there in those last few seconds, told him, well, it's not going to be me you're going to be taking on. It's actually going to be Big Super Mex Hernandez. And this was actually a damn good match. We saw Austin Aries do a little bit of dirty tactics. At the end, though, referee was distracted as Austin Aries, he tried to bring in a tag belt into the ring. And Hernandez, he saw the attack coming, and Austin Aries, he didn't want no part of it. He gave it to Hernandez, just willingly, just say, here, take the title, man, I don't care about it. And we see Hernandez, he's just looking at it, and he's like, this is exactly what I want. And we kind of see him almost lose his cool. It looks like he's maybe getting ready to hit Austin Aries with it, but we see the referee grab the title, tries to put it outside the ring. As Hernandez is looking on, Austin Aries, turns out he has a steel chain wrapped around his hand that he pulled from his trunks, and he hits Hernandez with it and hurries up, tucks it into Hernandez's trunks, and he was able to pick up the victory that way. A little bit of line cheating and stealing your way to the top right there. That's exactly what Austin Aries had did. Guys, especially you Kenny King fans, we were crowned with a new X Division champion tonight, and it was none other than Kenny King himself. Very interesting circumstances for this particular match. Now, the stipulations couldn't be any higher. If Kenny King lost to Rob Van Dam tonight, then he would be done with the X Division. That's it. Can't challenge anybody else. Can't keep taking on Rob Van Dam. That's it. Stick a fork in it. D-O-N-E. Done. However, if Kenny King was able to get the job done, then Kenny King would be crowned the champion. And on this night, despite the vibe from a lot of you guys, I've had the fortunate pleasure of talking to you. A lot of you were under the impression that Kenny King was going to get screwed for a third time, but on this night, Kenny King became the new X Division champion. I love this move, but I kind of question the timing of it right now. Let's slide in co-host Diamond K. Diamond, your thoughts on Kenny King getting the job done tonight and becoming new X Division champion?
Well, I actually was pleasantly surprised with the move. Anybody that knows me knows how I feel about Rob Van Dam in 2013. So seeing Kenny King with the belt is a good thing. But it led me to ask a question, what exactly is the X Division? I mean, what does it mean? What separates the X Division from, say, the TV title? And I couldn't really come up with anything.
Honestly, when I think about the X Division, I think about a Metallica song. And if you know your Metallica songs, then you'll know the song I'm talking about. It was from their Reload album. I believe it was King Nothing. That is what I think of when I think of Kenny King. It's like he's a king of something. Right now it's nothing, but he's a king of something. It's like this isn't the X Division of yesteryear. It's like you had you had Samoa Joe, you had AJ Styles, you had Daniels, you had Petey Williams, you had Doug Williams. It's not that kind of an X Division now. It's like now it's like if you're lucky, maybe you might occasionally get an appearance from Zema Ion.
Right.
Maybe you might get a appearance from Christian York, who I think is a great addition to the X Division. We saw that they briefly reached out to Sanjay Dutt there. Who was the other one? Andrew Mason. But, there really hasn't been anything consistent. There really hasn't been, when you see this guy, he's part of the X Division. It's just really been coming down, for the most part, to one guy, and that's Rob Van Dam. And, on the one hand, I'm happy that Kenny King was crowned the new champion, but, there's always that part of me that likes to think from that money-making standpoint. It's like, okay, well, we're 10 days away from the Lockdown pay-per-view. You're telling me that you couldn't pull the trigger at the pay-per-view itself, make the folks want to pay to see this? That's
when
just
we're going to get the rematch. Yeah, that's when we're going to get the rematch.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely, and he's going to come up short, no doubt about that. I would be shocked to see the title go back to Rob Van Dam, 10 days later. And let me show Robert a little bit of love right here. Chris Sabin, that's another name that was part of the division. Alex Shelley. Alex Shelley's gone, though. He's gone. He left TNA, I think it was like late last year. But good name to mention. He says it seems like the X Division is trying to hold on until Jesse Sorsen returns. Rob, I don't even know if Jesse Sorsen is going to return, and I actually have an update about Jesse. Turns out he's 100% good to go, and he's actually been wrestling for a few independent promotions, a couple I haven't heard of before. I believe the last event he did was sometime late January, but from what I was able to read on his timeline, it doesn't sound like right now he has any affiliation with TNA. Maybe they're keeping that under the carpet. I don't know, but you would think that maybe they're trying to hold on until Jesse comes back, but I don't even think that's really a case. I think right now it's just a transition period, Diamond, where TNA is trying to figure out, what exactly do they want to do with that X Division. And, I don't mind Kenny King being the champion, but it's like you can't have a good piece of talent like that, who had so much great exposure in Ring of Honor wrestling, be the champion of nothing, and you don't really have any good contenders that can take him on for that title.
Mm-hmm. point.
Yeah. I mean, because think about it. Who we got? We got Christian York. We got Zema Ion. It doesn't look like they want to really go with Daniels. Daniels looks like, whether some people like it or not, I dare say Daniels looks like he could be the next person right behind Bully Ray to, get a shot at that TNA title. Unless Austin Aries, Bobby Roode are going to, downgrade to the X Division. That'd be the only way I could see it really having some longevity there. But right now, York and the other guy I mentioned there, those would be your only two for right now. Maybe Eric Young. And speaking of Eric Young, how about that? Team TNA started to take shape as the participants were announced for Team TNA. Your team consists of Sting, Samoa Joe, James Storm, Eric Young. There's a fifth guy in there. I'm not sure who I'm missing there. Who was the fifth guy there? You remember?
Yeah, okay, we had Sting. We had Eric Young. We had, I said it's just blowing me.
Yeah, no, I can't remember the last person.
we just saw it.
And we just saw it, and we can't remember the last person.
Was it Bully Ray?
No, it wasn't Bully Ray, no.
Oh, it wasn't Bully Ray.
Samoa Joe, Sting, Magnus, James Storm, Eric Young. There we go. We got five.
Yeah, there it is. Right.
Yeah, we got five. So it's James Storm, Sting, Samoa Joe, Magnus, Eric Young. That is your team TNA that's going to be taking on Aces and Nates at Lockdown. Eric Young returning. Very pleased to see Eric Young. It's always exciting when we get him. That guy is entertaining. I mean, other than Joseph Park, that would have to be the second best character in TNA that I love seeing whenever he's there. I know he's been having great success with his fishing shows there, but, I love seeing him do what he does best in that ring.
Yeah, I agree. And I was unsure whether it was his contract issues, but I'm definitely glad to see him back. And he was like a ball of fire, and the crowd seemed to pop for his return, if you will.
Yeah, how badass would that have been, though, to see Matt Morgan join? I mean, Sting was kind of close there, but Magnus still bitter with Hulk Hogan, said, nah, man, anybody that's associated with Hulk Hogan, they're guilty in my mind. And no, I'm not interested. Two things with that. It was, okay, it's good to see that they haven't forgotten about Matt Morgan. And, they're still keeping him in the back of our minds there. But that damn beard, woo, man. Damian Sandow, eat your heart out, man. That was one strong Abe Lincoln type of beard he had going on there tonight. I thought for sure we was going to see some pigeons come out of there from Velvet Sky. Ooh, strong beard. Well, let's talk about that TNA Gut Check match. And I was telling the folks earlier that if they have not gotten hip to women's wrestling yet, especially promotions like Shine and Shimmer, they might want to start following it, because Ivelisse Velez, a.k.a. Sofia Cortez, that's actually some of the promotions that she's been working with. And if you know your women's wrestling, you know that she is currently part of a female version of the Four Horsemen / Evolution in Valkyrie over at Shine Wrestling. And I was definitely proud to see her make her TNA Gut Check debut, Diamond, as she had took on the niece of the Barbarian from the Powers of Pain, Lady Tappa. And this was definitely a damn good match. Of course, we learned that Ivelisse, she did have an MMA match that she was supposed to do, I believe Friday or on this day, but she canceled it just so she could come try out for them. And you think TNA, and this isn't a knock in any type of way, but do you think TNA might have been a little bit too high over the UFC 157 and looking for their next Ronda Rousey there?
Definitely. I think that on a couple of ends, their attempts at crossing over with MMA have been, I'm going to say, a failure. With King Mo being knocked out during our broadcast last week, and just some other things. The people that they've chosen to attach themselves to in the MMA world, not necessarily a good thing. And I wasn't really super excited about the King Mo announcement, if you will. I will say that I definitely enjoyed this match a lot better than I thought that I would. I normally take a refreshment break during the women's matches, but this one I really enjoyed. I was actually hoping that the Barbarian's niece got the victory, but it did not work out that way. But they told an excellent story with the match, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that they should give both ladies a contract next week. That's what I hope happens.
I agree 100%. I'm with you, and it would be a first, if I'm not mistaken, that two TNA Gut Check contestants both get contracts. I could be wrong, but if I'm not mistaken, this should be the first time that something like that would occur, and I definitely would love to see it happen. I mean, this was one of those type of knockout matches that, just for this calendar year alone, and I'm going to jump out there, for TNA, this was probably their best knockouts match for this year. They had two girls that really knew how to tell a freaking story, and we heard some of the references there by some folks on Twitter. They were looking at Lady Tappa, and they said, okay, looks like TNA is probably trying to go for their and then I just thought this was a poor assessment. Great Khali, that's a little bit too extreme. Tamina Snuka, I would definitely say yes to. And, I definitely am hoping that both of these girls get a contract. But, of course, as I said, for you Shine Wrestling fans, you definitely need to be concerned about this because the Puerto Rican, if she gets offered a contract, I'm quite sure that Valkyrie will be fine without her, but with her name being associated with that, it was definitely making its waves. But, I'm hoping, I want for the best for her, and I'm definitely rooting her on. I would like to see her get a contract. My whole thing is I just don't want her time to be wasted in the company. It's like, we've seen the story happen so many times over the years, whether it be WWE. We've even seen TNA do it at times. They get a great piece of talent. They don't properly utilize them. They have them on the shelves, and they're doing this in favor of pushing, somebody else. And and it should be pointed out that the Knockouts division was pretty damn good. What was it, earlier last year? I mean, we had Rosita, we had Sarita, we had Tara, we had Gail Kim, we had Tessmacher, we still had Angelina. We had Velvet. The knockout division was just entirely different around the same time last year. And, and I mean, you can go a year before that, and you could probably come up with some more names. I mean, you could probably come up with Nikki Rocks in there if you're lucky. But, I see that they're in this rebuilding process, and, I'm all fine with that. I don't know. Maybe the prices for these girls was a little bit too high. Maybe that's why they did all the cutting that they did, and they're able to get these new pieces of talent for a better price. I would hope that's the case. But I definitely want to see these talents that they're signing be utilized off the break. And we already know this is a no-brainer right here. If Ivelisse is offered a contract, really, if either one is offered a contract, they're going to be ready to go off the break. Meanwhile, we still got cats like Alex Sylvia, and Taylor Hendricks, to this date have only made 2 appearances on Impact Wrestling TV.
Yeah, I mean, and that's unfortunate because my thing is why do they have to only use the Gut Check as the only way to introduce new talent? TNA definitely has to just introduce new talent without a gimmick, or something like that. Just here's a new wrestler, give us a background on him, and start to build him up. Without the whole hoopla of the Gut Check, which I'm not a big fan of, but I do like them to introduce new talent, and this seems to be the only way that they're doing it. But I wish that they would just run some vignettes and bring somebody out and just start to push them.
I can appreciate what you're saying. Yeah, kind of just go with the traditional hype and
right.
Do the little vignettes, and yeah, I'm totally down with that. I can't remember the last time we saw something like that at TNA Wrestling. Kind of feels like it's been forever, if not never. I'm trying hard to think right now on the spot, and for the love of me, I just cannot think of seeing any video vignettes. Actually, I think, and man, this is pushing my memory diamond, but I think I might have to go as far back as when TNA first acquired Kurt Angle.
Yeah, you might be right there, and that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. I'll never forget. I remember where I was on that night, and a little commercial came on. You see the little silhouettes, and he's in the ring. He's holding the flag. You're like, could it be? Could it be? And he just has that mouthpiece. It's real. It's damn real. Yeah. I was like, that was my promo right there. I was like, yeah. But, yeah, I think that was the last time we saw some vignettes for somebody coming in there. And Robert's usually pretty good with his TNA memory. Robert, shout out to you, buddy. If you happen to remember something a little more current than that one, feel free to let us know. Meantime, rest of TNA Wrestling tonight, as it was the return of Impact Wrestling in the United States, live for the first time after a month. Oh, truly, what a refreshing feeling it was. We had got that main event match where we saw Jeff Hardy team up with Bully Ray, take on Daniels and Kazarian. Entertaining main event match right there. Team of Jeff Hardy, Bully Ray, able to work together to get on the same page. Actually picked up the W over Daniels and Kazarian. I was thinking about what had went down in our last conversation last week. And the question was put out there, was enough time put out there for a proper build-up of Jeff Hardy versus Bully Ray, something we can really get behind. And we both say, at this point, they really don't have enough time. This should have happened a couple of weeks ago. But, it started having me thinking. And I think this could be something we could expect. Wouldn't it be badass if Bully Ray ends up getting the title at Lockdown as he's revealed to be a member of Aces and Eights? I mean, that would kind of explain, how this all has kind of come about and, why Bully Ray was kind of doing a little sweet talking that he was doing tonight to Jeff Hardy, saying, oh, I don't deserve this, and, kind of knowing that Jeff Hardy was going to jump out there and say, well, you do deserve it. It's an honor to take you on. And, you're just thinking about that whole, wow, are we actually going to see a match, that's going to be all about honor and two baby faces just getting it on? I'm just thinking from that writing booking standpoint, if there's ever a time for you to kind of have somebody show some ugly colors right here, Bully Ray would be the route to go.
Unfortunately, I think that's definitely a possibility. And I hate to complain all night, but another issue that I'm having with the cut down of the pay-per-views. On paper, this is a great thing. It gives them more time to concentrate on pay-per-views, and presumably we would get a bigger buy rate and more eyes on the pay-per-view event. But what it seems to me that Impact Wrestling is taking the same amount of time to build up the pay-per-views like they do when they're every month. I mean, it's not enough time has been spent building up this pay-per-view and the matches. I think that we should have got the matches sooner, and the time now should have been furthering the storylines and the motivations of the characters, the wrestlers involved in these angles, not 10 days before it's still taking shape. It doesn't feel epic like that.
Yeah, no, I don't look at what you just said there. I don't look at that as a form of complaining, and I would hope that our listeners, they're more savvier than that. I hope they don't just look at it as you guys are because we aren't. We try to. What's our motto, folks? Keeping it honest, keeping it real. That's our whole thing. And Diamond, you've made a very valid point right there because the perfect. The thing that was floating in my head as I was watching Impact tonight, first thing I said to myself, oh, fuck, it's open fight night? You guys didn't hype this up last week. Where was the plugs? I did not, and I remember watching on my DVR, I did not recall any plug that open fight night was coming back next week. I didn't even hear anything about TNA Gut Check. I'm just turning on Impact Wrestling tonight, and, I'm doing my usual thing. I'm giving the results to the folks from the website, and, I find out like 15 minutes into the show that it's open fight night. I'm like, okay. And so, yeah, I mean, there does need to be that proper little bit of time into hyping up, their next episode or next rivalry, and I definitely agree with you. They definitely should have had this be, weeks. At this point, we should be seeing some type of a mean streak from one of these two guys. The storyline should definitely be further along now, and I don't know, maybe after Lockdown, but I'm hoping that after they can kind of get to that point where, okay, well, look, we know the next pay-per-view is going to be this. What can we do between, now to, because right now, the way that they're coming off, they come off as if they're only thinking episode per episode, and, that's a bad, that's how they're operating. That's a bad strategy because you would just suck at a game of chess. You got to be thinking a couple of moves ahead. You want to think a couple of shows ahead. It's like, okay, this pay-per-view is going down April 27th. Okay, it's the night after Lockdown. Okay, what are we going to do? Where do we want, for the rivalries to go? It needs to be like that rather than just take it, per episode, per week. Because that's what they're really showing to me. Perfect example. It was open fight night tonight. So it's like, hype it up a little bit more. But, I'm trying here, folks. I'm hoping that TNA has something in store for us because I don't think this Bully Ray Jeff Hardy match is going to be clear-cut. I don't think it's going to be just a straight-up babyface versus Jeff Hardy. I just don't see that happening. And, I would honestly be quite shocked if Bully Ray doesn't show some type of a mean streak that just, kind of makes you go, oh, man, I knew it. And you go, oh, man, when Hulk Hogan gets back, the seeds are already planted. I mean, it's like, are they going to pull the trigger is the thing. We always hear Bully Ray say, oh, Sting, you're the only person that had my back when everybody else, they didn't want to take their time with me, Hogan, blah, blah, blah. I mean, just look at the position that Bully Ray is in right now. If there's ever a time to go rogue, what grander stage than in San Antonio, Texas? I mean, talk about mega heat. That would be freaking awesome.
Yeah, well, I mean, once again, I think that it's just, what do we get out of that? What do they get out of doing that? I mean, if they're going to do that, they probably should prolong it a little bit more. I would probably say let him get the title if they want to do that, but before actually showing the mean streak. But, I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air about that. Bully has proven to be a pretty decent face. All of the signs are there, though. All of the signs are there for a Bully return. And they've gone back and forth with this. Do you think that we are going to see a Hogan versus Matt Morgan somewhere, maybe Bound for Glory, somewhere in 2013?
God, I hope not. Especially if Hulk Hogan was really cut open. I would hope not. I need to see Hulk Hogan just chill somewhere and just, It's funny you mention that because Matt Morgan, he had done some video as they were plugging their next TNA event that's going to be coming soon. I can't remember the city and state right now, but they just acquired some venue. And I remember the person conducting the interview, they asked Matt Morgan, so what's next for you? And Matt Morgan said, well, what's next for me is that I'm going to get in the ring and I'm just going to continue to put my boot in people's faces and get the 1, 2, 3 till I'm able to prove to Hogan to give me what I feel is rightfully mine, which is a shot at the TNA title. So, I don't think that a Matt Morgan versus Hulk Hogan match is going to happen. And, if it was maybe 10 years ago, I could definitely, but just the fact that Matt Morgan is working closely with the Hulks, that are kind of getting a little bit of a rub off there, still in his Thunder Lips cape there and all that, I think that's freaking awesome. It's got people talking, but no, I don't see that happening. And speaking of big guys, how about the way Impact Wrestling went off there, man? We saw Kurt Angle taking it to that big guy Aces and Eights, taking off the mask, shocked as hell. Who do you think that guy is?
It's no telling. And just because whoever it was tonight doesn't mean that's who they're going to reveal it as. I don't know. I wish that they could have given us a little bit more of the match. They cut it off too soon. Wish they could have managed the time better throughout the show and given us about 2 more minutes with the Aces and Eights clubhouse, if you will.
I thought it was perfect. I thought it was good timing. Tease the folks a little bit. It's like,
yeah, well, that definitely did it.
They did a good job. Sometimes I like it. You think that was bad? Dude, remember how it was when Impact Wrestling used to come on the Fox Sports Network at like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning? Remember how it back in the day? I think it lasted it lasted an hour. But remember how exactly at like 1 o'clock? It didn't matter what was happening on that episode. And back then it was pre-taped. They just cut that thing off. I still remember there was one episode where we saw Sting. He was getting ready to walk down to the ring. He gets in there. He gets a microphone. He's getting ready to cut open a promo, and the feed just got cut off. You're like, what the hell? It could have been a lot worse, but no, I thought it was on point tonight. And the way that they set up next week, the first thing I'm thinking to myself is, okay, is Kurt Angle going to be able to make it to the Impact Zone in one piece to let us know who it was that was up under that mask, or is Aces and Eights going to kidnap him? What's going on right here? Is he going to even make it to Lockdown? Because he's supposed to have a match against Wes Briscoe. So it's like, what's going to happen here? So they definitely have piqued interest, I'm sure, in a lot of folks' minds going into next week. Of course, they definitely did one hell of a job with AJ Styles tonight, as they showed cameramen going down to his home in Gainesville, Georgia, spoke with his wife, who was giving her thoughts on what had went down with the Claire Lynch storyline. Turns out she's been married to him, 12 years? Then they talked to his best friend of 30 years, and really, what I thought, doing a good job of giving us insight into type of man that he is, and but at the same time pointing out that, you know, all this stuff that's been happening in the past year, you know, they aren't quite really sure just what exactly is going on with him. How about that grizzly bear-looking AJ Styles? We were talking about it. We was on point last week. We said, you know, it'd be nice to see him come back, maybe push a beard or something. We get that.
Yeah.
And he just has this hell of a mean streak. When he sees the cameras, he's like, I told you guys. And he just hops on his motorcycle, runs off. You know, what was your first impressions of seeing a full beard AJ Styles there?
I like the look. It was intriguing and got me interested. I thought that AJ Styles, and I've said it in the past, had gotten stale, more than stale. Just, you know, anything related to stale, that was AJ Styles. But with this, depending on, you know, how he does his promos, this could be very interesting, and this could be truly the next dimension for AJ Styles.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. I mean, I know we only saw AJ for just a few seconds, folks.
Right.
But for me, when I saw that new look, you know, and just the tone in his voice, you know, the first thing that's just clicking in my head is, okay, this guy, you know, he's just tired, he's fed up, you know, he just wants to let loose, he just wants to be a man's man, do his own thing when he wants to do it. He wants to be a renegade. You know, that was the vibes I was picking up from him. And I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the coming weeks because, I mean, they got the perfect setup right there where AJ Styles, he could come to the Impact Zone but not even get in the ring to talk to the crowd. He could just be coming there straight up just to talk to TNA President Dixie Carter and show that same mean streak that he showed to her when last we saw him when he was walking off of the premises there, and tell Dixie Carter he didn't appreciate the cameras coming to his home and all of that. I wouldn't be too surprised if we see something like that happen, but don't be, you know, for you guys that saw this little segment tonight, don't be like, oh, AJ Styles is going to be coming back to the ring, and I don't see that happening just yet. I think they're in the middle of a process right now of continuing to fine-tune this new character. Yeah, you know, a nice reintroduction. I'm loving it, and dare I say, I'm enjoying it a little bit better than I got to put the name out there, Fandango.
Yeah, definitely. And, all right, there you go.
I'm trying to figure out how I was going to be able to work that name in there, you know, but
well, you put it out there, and now we're going to get a whole bunch of hate comments because you mentioned something from another.
I know, right? I know. I just had to do that on purpose, you know, because I know it's going to piss some of them off. They're like, God damn it, it's supposed to be TNA. It's like, it's TNA, man. Chill.
Yeah.
But I'm going to be enjoying that big time. But, yeah, I'm liking his look, man. I mean, he just has, like, you know, first thing that jumped out, and this is, again, just a few seconds, but when I first saw him, I'm like, damn, he reminds me of the new guy that's playing Superman in the Man of Steel movie there. They had that one scene where Superman had the full beard and all that. I'm like, hey, he looks pretty distinguished there. It's like, all right. So I'm liking it. I'm hooked already, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen. I can't believe we almost forgot about this. It almost slipped the mind here. What was going down there with Big Robbie E? We've officially seen the separation there now as Robbie E, he invited Rob Terry to come into the ring one last time, have a bro-off, and try to make up with him. You know, of course, he slapped him in the face last week, so he's trying to play kiss-up to him. He kicks it off, you know, doing the whole dancing, and then he attacks Big Rob from behind there. I mean, that was a no-shocker right there. But do you think this go-round Big Rob Terry is going to be more successful as a singles competitor as opposed to Robbie E? I mean, they got a good storyline right there, Rob versus Rob. But, I can't help but think, okay, well, where are you going to go after that? Because I see you trying to juggle him, and then you're trying to juggle Magnus at the same time. I don't really think it's going to go too smoothly for Big Rob right now.
Well, I actually like Big Rob. I think it's probably too soon to do this, and I definitely think that Magnus is further along in his development than Rob Terry. Definitely on a promo level, just for starters, he's over more, further along. This is interesting to see what happens. I don't know where they go after this feud is over with. Like you said, more so for the Rob Terry character, as I think Robbie E will be fine.
Yeah. Robbie E, man, so freaking underrated. He really is. I mean, that guy, man, that is one of those type of wrestlers I love. He just goes in there, and from what we're able to gather, he never complains. He does the job. If he's got to lose to somebody, he does it. He shows up whenever he needs to show up. And, quite honestly, there are just so many times where I look at Robbie E and I say to myself, this guy should be more higher up the card. Not, TNA champion material. He's not quite there just yet, but, he should definitely be up there, among the likes of the James Storms and the Austin Aries, Bobby Roode. And I always feel a little sad to see the way that he gets shafted. A good example, Rockstar Spud, Zema Ion. I mean, he's jobbed him so many times, it's not even funny. And he was the original bad boy there with the can of hairspray. And, it's always unfortunate,
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to this. I would hope that TNA, if they're smart, I would like to see Big Rob Terry. I'd like to see him team up with Christian York. I'd like to see a new tag team with those guys and see them pose a serious threat to Austin Aries and Bobby Roode. I think that would make very interesting TV.
That's interesting. That's interesting. That kind of came out of left field, but I definitely think that's an interesting tandem that you put together there.
Yeah. That way they have a little bit more of a chance to do observation of Big Rob, see where he is exactly, any kinks he needs to work on, kind of iron it out there. But I think that would be a very interesting combination, and plus it would give the fans something new. We know that there's those TNA fans, they're tired of seeing those same rivalries, as many will point out. We've seen Daniels, AJ Styles, Kazarian, we know they're friends in real life. It seems like these guys are always getting into it. How about we shake things up a little bit? So I think from that creative aspect, that definitely would be pretty good to see there, and really shake things up a little bit. And from what I was thinking of earlier, in case you guys were wondering, as I said, there was a TNA press conference that was down in Jonesboro, Arkansas earlier this week, and they had announced that they're going to be bringing Impact Wrestling to that place on March 28th. I believe tickets are going to be going on sale in about 2 weeks. So TNA Wrestling, they're continuing to make waves, and they even have a new campaign going on right now, Diamond, where they're asking fans to take to Twitter and put in the hashtag #WeWantImpact and let them know where they would like to see Impact. I definitely would like to see them try their luck at the Verizon Center. A lot of seats that need to be filled up, but I think...
I don't know if they're ready for that.
I have faith in them.
Yeah,
but,
a lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of faith, yeah. I think they can, my God, those seats, God, I'm trying to think how many, that's got to be at least 80,000 seats in there.
Yeah. Nowhere near that level.
Mm-hmm.
They'd be lucky to do 8,000 seats.
I'm very curious to see how they play this out, and I can't wait to see once they start going live on a regular basis. And that's something we will be reporting to you guys in the upcoming weeks. So I definitely want to be paying attention to this very closely, the attendance figures, because I think that's really going to tell a story in itself. So once Impact Wrestling starts officially going on the road March 14th, we'll definitely be doing our best to get a hold of the attendance figures for you all. And other than that, boys and girls, as far as anything else that's been happening in TNA Wrestling-related news, it's pretty much been a quiet week. I mean, for the most part, Impact Wrestling, they've just been hyping up the success that they've had with their UK tour, and, they're still talking about that. Very interesting note, TNA President Dixie Carter and I believe Eric Bischoff, they went down to Santa Monica, California earlier this week, and they had spoke with Activision about possibly making a new TNA video game. And, of course, as we all know, the last time we got a TNA video game was in 2008, and that game did not do very well graphic-wise, beautiful, but the control mechanics, the gameplay was just, that is one of those games. True, and this is true. Those of you that know me and you listen to the show, and those of you that happen to have my gamer tag, and don't ask me for my gamer tag because I'm not going to give it to you, but those of you that do know me on Xbox Live, you'll know when you see my achievements that I've got to be like probably one of 15 people that have actually unlocked all the achievements for that Impact Wrestling game. So I did not enjoy it. I was just trying to milk the hell out of the achievements. I'm an achievement freak, so,
You said you did not enjoy it.
Yeah. I think I ended up getting it on GameFly, so it was like, it was like, oh, God, this game is so terrible. And it was like, well, let me just hurry up and just move on to the next game. And I was happy to get that daggone game out the way. But that should make you guys kind of happy. I know Activision, they usually have a checkered history when it comes to video games. They usually have a lot of hits and misses, and I don't know, man. I'm going to be watching this very closely. I'm excited that they're getting back into the gaming business, but at the same time, they need to learn big time from what they did with that last game. And for those of you that like playing video games and you remember that last Impact Wrestling game and you're kind of fiending to play some Impact Wrestling, there's actually a game that's better than that. I remember, I think it was like 2 years ago, Impact Wrestling, they released a mobile version of Impact Wrestling. It was a new game. It had nothing to do with the last thing that they put out, but this one was pretty good. You could actually get it for your iPad and all that, and it's actually a pretty good game. I recommend that you guys check that out, and that can tie you over until they figure out what they want to do with that. Other than that, that's pretty much it, man. So let's go ahead. Let's wrap up the show. Programming notes, this weekend, we got the weekend edition of the RCWR show. Check that out. We'll hook you guys up with the very latest, what all you might have missed from WWE, TNA, Impact. Also hook you guys up with the very latest in entertainment news and beyond. You know how we do it on the weekend edition. So join us for that. And we also want to tell you guys that in just 2 weeks, we got our 1 year anniversary that's going to be coming up. And all month long, we're going to be celebrating in style. And we thought we would break the news out to you all on here tonight. And we'll continue to remind you guys, we got the one and only Amazing Kong. She's going to be stopping by the show. Mark it on your calendar, March 30th, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday, March 30th, 2 p.m. Eastern. She's going to be joining me. It's going to be a pretty cool interview. You want to make sure you check that out. And that's not the only surprise that we got planned, but that's the main one I want you guys to be aware of. But we got more great guests that's going to be coming up all month long as we celebrate our 1-year anniversary. So make sure you join us for that. And that's going to do it, man. Let's go ahead and get the hell out of here, man, because I know you're down there in Atlanta. You're going to have yourself a next few busy days there. I know you say you were shooting some music videos and all that. How'd today go?
Today went very well. So we had a productive day, and I'll definitely be posting some of the behind the scenes stuff probably in the next day or so.
Awesome. Real quick, did you watch Unsung, Eddie Kendricks?
I did not, but I plan to.
Yeah, as I was saying, you can watch it online. Yeah. Oh, you're gonna like it. I was just amazed. It was so good. I watched it twice, and put it to you this way: I think it was the best unsung episode that they did this season.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I thought the Lou Rawls was good, but when I saw the Kendricks, I was like, and of course, if you guys don't know who Eddie Kendricks is, that was one of the original members of the Temptations.
Absolutely.
If you happen to like that type of music, there's a really cool biop show. It's kind of like VH1's Behind the Music, but they call it Unsung. And it really is unsung because they cover artists that they feel, really wasn't recognized. And they've covered a lot of great acts. Kool Moe Dee, EMPD. Was that?
EPMD.
Yeah, EPMD. A lot of cool stuff that they've
David Ruffin.
David Ruffin. That was another favorite of mine that they did.
That was a good one, yeah.
Isaac Hayes was a good one too. And check it out. They got a website. It's through TV One, and they actually have a website. You can actually check out some of the episodes if y'all are interested. And check that out. Some good stuff. And that's it. Let's get the hell up out of here, man. The weekend's near. We will see you guys this Saturday, and if we don't see you, then the dynamic duo will be returning next Tuesday night at 11 p.m. Eastern. We'll cover the fallout from WWE Raw, where it's the old school edition. Hopefully it's going to be a little bit better than last year. For the very latest in wrestling-related news, be sure to check us out at InfinityOneProductions.com. You can also befriend us on Twitter at Infinity1Prod. Hit up Diamond K as well. He's at the Diamond K Show on Twitter. And Be Kind Rewind. Any episodes that you might have missed from us, check them out. It's on iTunes. Zoom Marketplace is also on Stitcher. Just use the keywords, the RCWR Show. And like us on Facebook, Infinity One Productions. He's the one and only Diamond K. I'm the Black Avenger, Lee Sanders. Wish you guys be safe, be kind to one another. We'll see you next time. Everybody, take care.